So, day two of the first test from Mount Maunganui, and it's time to ask George. Michael Penhall asks, are England the worst side in world cricket at bowling to the tail? We've talked about this before.
I think there are probably stats on such things, and I don't have them to hand. They have been. I don't think they were that bad today. I thought it was a really brilliant innings. Sometimes you've got to give credit, and Blundell played fantastically well, I thought. Also, the pink ball does go kind of flat. And I think it only took Anderson, 10 or so balls once he had a new ball to sort it out. So it does show up one or two issues. Look, in an ideal world, you'd like a quick bowler in the attack to be able to do that role. But basically, you take Blundell out of it, and New Zealand were bowled out pretty cheaply, and he was fantastic. Sometimes you just got to give credit.
Yeah, it didn't feel there's legitimate concerns about that area, but today didn't feel like the day to criticise that.
What you said. Yeah.
Jim Cottrell asks, with Bairstow coming back, surely Brook would be a better option to open. If so, would it be a good idea to move him there, adjust it with only two tests for the Ashes?
I actually think that's a reasonable point of view. I'm not sure that Brook, I don't know if he wants to do it, and it's a question that we need to ask, isn't it, to be fair? But I think that's a legitimate theory, and is something that could happen. I don't think it's going to. They're going to give Crawley the Wellington test, aren't they? I think. They're very, very committed to him. And he did a bit better today. I mean, he was kind of fortunate that Wagner bowled him an over full of long hops, which he put away quite nicely. But look, they really like him, and they're going to give him every opportunity. But whether that opportunity extends beyond the end of the tour, and also is Brook the guy? Look, I think Stokes could open. He's got this thing about you've seen he likes the Brad Pitt. He's inspired by the Brad Pitt character in Fury.
Right.
And I think Brad Pitt would open the batting in this England side. I think he would see that as the difficult role that no one else was particularly nailing. Well, Ben Duckett is, and take it upon himself to do it. I think he's got the technique. I think he's got the temperament, and I think he's going to have to bowl a little bit less going forward. So I think it's something that they should consider, and I don't think they will for a moment.
Speaking of which, is sort of the answer of looking at this in plain sight is just Johnny Bairstow opening as he has for years in a format at which England are trying to play with against a different ball, staring us in the face a little bit as well.
Well, it's a legit theory. I don't agree, because I think the red ball moves around a lot more, and one of the things that you allow Johnny to do at the moment is come in when the ball has softened a bit, isn't nipping around quite as much, and you allow him to play his free ranging, attacking style of cricket. But it is different with the white ball. The white ball doesn't swing. It does not move around very much. And so I think there is a distinction between the roles. But yeah, I'm sure it will be spoken about. It's one of the options. Look, they have more batters than they have places, and a difficult decision has to be made. I mean, the other obvious one is to leave Ben Foakes out. But, I'd be loath to do that as well. And I think the Brook argument, the Bairstow argument, the Stokes argument, that they're all reasonable.
Stephen Kilby asks, am I the only one who loves day-night tests and wishes every series can include them? I'm a little bit in this camp. Well, I wish we'd see more of them, but I understand why we don't.
Okay, well, there's two of you. Why? What do you like about them?
I like the variable, if I'm honest. I like the variable around it. I think clearly there needs to be work in areas such as, clearly there's parts of the world we can't do it in, and the pink ball clearly has issues. That said, just because it doesn't work for some of England's bowlers doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. But I think it does still need work. And I like the variable. I like something different. I like having a different almost sales point of sale as far as Test cricket is concerned. I think
that's a reasonable point. Look, there are some places in the world where it's more comfortable, Perth, for example, to watch cricket in the evening because it's blisteringly hot during the day. I don't think it particularly works in England, not very often. I'm not sure it particularly works in New Zealand because I don't know what time it's getting dark here, 8:30ish. Play is finished at 9:30, 9 o'clock if they get the overs in.
Hmm.
But if it helps people come after work, that's a big deal. Or watch after work, that's a legit reason to do it. I'm not sure the figures do suggest that really. Look, I just think there's a period where the ball goes very flat and it becomes really quite attritional when the ball's soft and flat.
Hmm.
And I don't think that does a lot for anybody. But yeah, it's the point you make about just because it's not working now doesn't mean it will work in the future is very legitimate, isn't it? Because balls can change and technology can improve. And it might be that a Duke's pink ball is better than a Kookaburra. It's the timing of saying that is unfortunate because the Duke's red ball was pretty modest throughout the English summer. But, these things can continue to improve. And they're good spectacles. There's no doubt that, Adelaide in a day-night game is, it's a fantastic spectacle. And it might help sometimes with broadcast rights. These things do matter. But yeah, I just don't think the pink ball works particularly well from a cricket perspective at the moment. But it's not the end of the world. This has been a fun game.
Richard Anderson asks, what is the Nighthawk and how do I apply to be one? There was a conversation on the commentary, which you may or may not have heard, between David Gower and Stephen Fleming, where they weren't quite sure what one was. Maybe I've been drinking the McCullum Kool-Aid for too long, but I don't think there's too difficult to decipher what we're talking about.
No, it's not, but it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. It's just saying instead of a night watchman or you're going to have you're underlining the fact that whoever comes in is going to be aggressive. So they're not there to survive. They're there, although they're there to push on the scoring rate. I didn't think it particularly worked today, did it? But it's all part of the PR up to a point, and also it's the internal PR. It's the team believing that in every opportunity they take the positive option, and they do believe it. They have bought into it. They are loving it, and they are being successful. So you can break all these things down and criticise them. Like Ben Stokes' batting individually isn't really working, but it is sending a message to his team that his team are winning. So is it working actually? And maybe it was the same. Maybe it's the same with the Nighthawk. If they're enjoying it, and the mood in the camp is that much more positive than it has been in recent years, then maybe that's a good enough reason.
On a similar theme, Neil Varani asks, if Harry Brook really knuckles down, do you think he could one day play an innings as glorious as the one from Stuart Broad, presumably the one that Broad played today?
I thought almost every innings Harry Brook plays at the moment is fantastic, isn't it? The more that Stuart Broad swung at the ball, the less he connected. I mean, it didn't really work out today, and he should have been out for none or one or whatever it was. But that's fine. Harry Brook's obviously brilliant.
Bez Fanatic asks, is BazBall a bit of Emperor's new clothes? Does it hide deficiencies, provide excuses? New Zealand's they're only 19 runs behind for a similar not time output, but the same one innings down.
Look, a bit. Of course, it does a bit, but at the same time, they had one in 17 when these fellas took over, and actually they've had a run of results which is not just extraordinary, and they've won 9 out of 10, but they've had a clean sweep in Pakistan, and during it they scored a run and over quicker than anyone ever has done in a test series. It's extraordinary. Every time someone gets in, we're talking about this Gilbert Jessup record from 1902. And I don't remember ever talking about it before, the last 20 years or whatever I've been doing this for. So no, again, they have bought into it. Sort of doesn't matter what we believe. They believe it, and that belief is empowering them to play the way they're playing, and they are having terrific results. Now, English teams tend to be judged by results in the Ashes. Maybe that's changing. Maybe they should be judged by World Test Championship performances. Maybe they should be judged by away series in India. I don't know. But a combination of all those three things will be decided in the next 12, 18 months. And it might just be that we are seeing something completely new and unique. But yeah, there are clearly times when it's nonsense, you know. This is why Ben Duckett's doing such a great job. He is prepared to leave the ball. He is prepared to play it right under his eyes and defend it. And yet he scores very quickly. They're sort of trying to have the best of both worlds, and that seems like quite a good thing to try and have.